Are you concerned with members of Islamic terrorist organization crossing the border from Mexico to the States as a Jewish community?
Absolutely. We're concerned firstly about the penetration into the Western Hemisphere, into Latin America, of radical forces from the Middle East. That's been a big issue of concern to us for a very long time. And of course, we remember very clearly both 1992 and 1994, which were the two bombings in Buenos Aires, Argentina, first against the Israeli embassy, and then against the AMIA, or the Jewish Community Center building. That was the wake-up call for the fact that here you had Hezbollah and you had Iran working with local counterparts in the tri-border area, Brazil, Paraguay, Argentina, and others, locals. And then you, of course, have the phenomenon of Venezuela under Hugo Chavez, and the fact that Hezbollah and Hamas and Iran are very welcome. That, as far as we understand it, people from Lebanon, Syria, and Iran do not need visas to come to Venezuela. We also know that it's been quite easy to obtain Venezuelan passports from the sympathetic Venezuelan government. So people can leave Lebanon, Syria, or Iran with one name and one identity, and enter into the bloodstream of Latin America through Venezuela with another name, another identity, and another passport. And if their target is the United States, then one way of trying to enter the United States, of course, is by land through Mexico. And of course, we had the illustration of the Iranian plot to kill the ambassador of Saudi Arabia in Washington, D.C. And yes, there was a Mexican connection, as we all know. Not that Mexico itself was connected, of course not, but the fact that Iran thought it could use Mexico. So Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, other radical jihadist forces see this border of nearly 3,000 kilometers on America's southern tier, and it may be very tempting. So we're very concerned overall about the penetration into Latin America, and we're concerned as well about the potential entry into the United States.
There are radical Islamic cells in Mexico?
Well, you would know better than I. But clearly,
I don't know. I don't know really.
but clearly, I mean, we know of attempts by Iran and other radical Islamic forces to do several things. One, to use money in order, for example, to build mosques and to convert people to Islam. And there are examples in different parts of Latin America of this phenomenon. Two, to try and penetrate established Muslim and Arab communities that exist already for many years, in some cases many decades, in some cases back to the Ottoman Empire, when people came, Christians, Muslims, and Jews, came to Latin America, trying to penetrate, trying to radicalize, is a second way. A third way is that you have countries that are ideologically sympathetic. And Iran is a good example, and Nicaragua and Bolivia and Cuba are illustrations of countries that are sympathetic politically. So while I don't know all of the details, we are concerned because there's objective reason to be concerned about Latin America as a target for radical Islamic forces.
And what do you do about it?
Well, it's not that AJC alone can solve the problem. The first thing we do, and we've traveled again and again to most Latin American countries. The first thing we do is simply try and wake up people, because the fact of the matter is that a lot of people have forgotten Argentina and the two attacks in 1992 or 1994, or they remember them but think there was something very uniquely specific about them. Meaning, yes, they happened, but there was something very particular, and they will not happen in our country, because our country is different, and our circumstances are different, so we don't really need to know more about it. So a goal of ours is to wake people up to the reality that what happened in Argentina should remind all of us of the potential danger. Number one. Number two, that countries usually can't solve these problems alone. Most of the Latin American countries, for example, don't have intelligence capabilities that take them as far as Iran or the Bekaa Valley in Lebanon or Syria. That's beyond their line of vision. There are other countries, however, that do. The United States, Israel, Great Britain, and other countries have intelligence capabilities. So the more the cooperation among countries who share the concern, the better for everyone. And thirdly, what's missing in many countries, frankly, is anti-terrorism legislation. So, for example, and I'm not speaking specifically about Mexico because I don't know, but I can tell you that in a number of countries in Latin America, it's possible today for me to announce that I am a member of Hezbollah and to call a meeting in my home or in a hotel and to say I'm raising money for the widows and orphans of Hezbollah, and I'm not breaking any laws. Now, is that right? Should Hezbollah, which has been connected to killings of Latin American citizens in Argentina, which has been connected to killing of American and French soldiers and diplomats, which has been connected to a whole host of activities, including today murder in Syria, participating in the mass murder together with President Assad. Should I be able, as a citizen of a country in Latin America, to openly fundraise and support Hezbollah? It seems to me that there's a need for anti-terrorism legislation of this kind. So there's a lot that I believe, we believe, should be done, and part of our effort is to encourage Latin American governments to understand that the challenge is global. The Middle East has come to Latin America, just as the Middle East has come to Europe, to North America, to Africa, and to Asia. I'm sorry to say it. I wish it were otherwise, but it's a fact, and when you're presented with facts, the worst thing to do is close your eyes.
And they have a relation with the narco organization.
In some cases, it's clear they do. And I mean, we know from experience in many parts of the world, by the way, including in the United States, that Hezbollah is a money-making operation that does not only depend on individual members to raise money in their homes. They have been involved in narco-trafficking in a very significant way. They've been involved in money laundering. They've been involved in all kinds of other activities which are illegal, which are designed to raise money and then to transfer money back to the region to support their terrorist activities, often under the